Okay, so we have 8 primitive data types, right? So for integers we have 4: byte, short, integer, long, right? Then for decimals we have 2: float and double. For character we have char, and for true and false we have boolean, right? These are our 8 primitive data types that we have in Java, right? And what's the use of these data types? Why do we require data type? To hold the data, right? We require data types to hold the data. So in the Java variables, it is way too common, right? Variables are used to store the constant values, right? By using these values, we can achieve the project requirements. At way too basic in definition, no one needs to learn it, right? The next thing is variables are known as fields or properties, right? It's not like we just or we will only tell the properties, right? We can call them fields and properties as well. Especially when we talk about the OOPS. OOPS is not any language specific, right? So over there we use fields and properties terminologies only. In Java, all the variables must have a type, right? Either primitive or non-primitive, we need to have to define it as a class. Then we can use it directly. But they must have a type, right? We can directly use primitive types, and over here it has been written that int, float, and boolean, right? Or the reference type, such as strings, array, and object, right? A string and array is also an object, right? For other things, it is mentioned over here, right? So how do we declare a variable in Java? So for the very first thing, how do we declare? If let's suppose I have to, okay, range test, let's just reverse it. It was a range test. Okay, cool. It was a range test. So let it keep in this thing only. So how do I declare a variable? Anyone?
Data type, variable name, and the value.
Okay. So over here, I can say that boolean, right? Boolean, and let's take integer. It would be better, right? Integer, and let's not write over here. So I will change the name in a while, right? So the thing is, how can I declare a variable int, right? Int is the data type. Then let's say age will be the name of the data type, right? And I have assigned some values, right? Is it clear?
Yeah.
Can we do anything else? We can add access modifiers, right? So in production environment, if you are working in the industry right now, you will see you will have no single variable, especially no instance variable to be non-private. We will come over here what are instance variable and what's not. So this is the structure how we declare a variable, right? So in the if we come over here, public is the x modifier, right? And it's not a normal modifier, it's the access modifier. Why access modifier? It will modify how the variable and from where the variable can be accessed, right? Then this is a data type, variable name, and the value if I want to assign it or not, right? And a statement terminator, right? So this is how we declare a variable, right? Now let's just dive deep into how we usually works with the variables, right? So again, the very first thing, a lot of people don't know, right? Especially in the while doing coding, they face a lot of this thing. So this will be the first interview question as well. I mean, it's not very tough interview question, but I will use TSV info, and this will be the runners. Okay, but it's way too easy. Okay. Let's just take class A. All right, and my class A is having a method public void amount. Just bear with me. We are calling the methods. We will see how the method works in the later session. So right now we will just, I mean, we already know a lot of things with this language, right? So I will show you how usually thing works. So over here, if I'll say a equals to 10, right? This is this is right. A equals to 10. I have just declared a variable data type integer. It's going to take 4 byte. The name of the variable a, and I have declared. I mean, initialize its value to 10, right? And I'm saying value of a, and then will be plus a, right? How can I access it instead of basic? In our entire session, we will have a runner class, right? Runner class is responsible to call whatever we are writing, right? So a equals to new a. We will go through in the later session what is this say, what is this say, right? Everything we'll see. Right now we are just let I mean just keep in your mind that we have created an object, and a is the reference variable of that particular object, right? So I will call the ambin method, and I can call in this way, right? In the later sessions when we end the entire class element, you will get what's happening behind the scenes, right? So what will happen till over here, right now you have to just know that whenever I'm doing this a dot m1, then my m1 method will start executing, right? And if this m1 method will start executing, then this line will be printed, right? Any doubts? So if I'll try to run this, you will see value a equals to 10, right? Clear? If I will ask you what will the output now, anyone, what will be the output now if I try to run the code?
Value of A is value of A 10, value of B 10.
Great, the answer is correct, right? Nice. Now let me just change the code a little bit. Cool. So let's do this thing, all right? And if I'll try to do okay, this thing and this thing, right? Now, and if I put it over here, right? Now what will the output if I try to run? I mean, let's just assume that I have not committed out the code, right? I will try to remove the comments and then I'll try to run it. What will be the output now?
First, there will be an error because we are not able to access B.
Yes, because
But
B has not been declared, right?
yeah,
So if I try to run it, cannot find the variable B, right? Because we have to declare first, then we can use it, right? All right, but before that, I want you to know a few terminologies. Maybe, might be there is chance that you already know it. So if let's say there is int a, right? Int a, what do we call it? We call it declaration, right? Cool. And what we call it? Initialization. So when I defined a variable name and assign it with the data type, then it's called declaration. And when I assign a variable a value, it's called initialization, right? Cool. And what I can do both things in one go as well, right? Declaration plus initialization, right? In one go also I can do it, right? That this is the terminology that I want you to know. And now we will move ahead. Right, so this is the declaration, and okay, so I have just declared it over here, and int a and then int b. All right, so and just give the values as well, right? So 10, and let's take the same values again. Sys out and value of a equals to 10, right? And let's say now int b equals to 20, right? And no, okay, so let's do if, and if a is greater than 20, int b equals to 20, and then sys out. Okay, so value of b value of b. Cool, right? Or instead of this, I will convert it into the while, right? Great. You all are aware of while loops, right? While loops and if loops. Yes or no?
yes,
Okay, great. So what I'm going to do, a plus plus, right? So what will be the output now? And let's just move it. Let's do it 11, right? Because a value is already 10, right? Let's make it 1 as well, right? Let's make it 1 as well and remove this and then plus and nil, and let's make it 2 while 2 is while 2 is greater. I'm going to loop it, right, again and again. So what will be the output now? Anyone can answer. Okay, so if you're going to take a lot of time, our video duration will get increased, right?
Yeah, it will be value of A is 1
Great.
and value of B,
Okay, my bad.
yeah.
Let's make it B, right? Okay, just write it correct version of it right now. Yes, go ahead. Everyone agrees with this that the value will over here will be 1, right? Anyone if disagree can answer within 3 seconds. Otherwise, we are going to move to line number 15, right? What will be the output in line number 15?
I think B will be undefined.
Okay, 1 is undefined. Other answers? Anyone agree to this answer or not agree to this answer? Okay, let's one answer we have found, right? Undefined, right? So let's change the code a little bit. Cool. And how I'm going to change the code? That the code will be same. The code will remain same, right? But instead of m1 method, I'm going to create now m2 method. Right? Entire method will be same, right? My bad. Okay. So over here and over here. So instead of m1, I'll make it m2, right? I have just duplicated the entire method, right? So instead of while, now I'm not going to have anything, right? So what I'm going to do, int a equals to b, right? And then what I'll do, that I'll do b a equals to a minus b. Cool. And b should be 2. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to print system.out dot println, and okay, why to work it out, right? Just copy paste. So the value of a and the value of b. Cool. All right. So give me the answer. So Dikshita has said the answer will be 1 over here, and no one disagreed, right? And Kishore has mentioned that it will be undefined, right? And no one disagrees till now. Anyone can opt to disagree. And what will be the output over here now? At line number 22, at line number 30, and line number 31. What will be the output?
Well, there is no condition for the uh, loop inside.
All right. I mean, you have to answer whatever you know. You need to try to answer it. Because this is what you are going to get. At least if you try to appear for a first round, especially for the fresher, this is how the questions have been arranged. Even if you try to appear for the OCJP, this is how you are going to get the questions, right? OCJP is a test for the Java certifications. All right, let's try to make it quick. What will be the output at line number 23? Obviously 1, right? What will be the output at line number 30? See, you can answer, right? There is nothing wrong if you answer it wrong, right?
-1, huh?
Okay.
It will be undefined.
Who says 0?
Oh, me, sir.
Okay. Hi, Shubhar. Okay, great. So this is the answer, right? Everyone has agreed. If anyone don't agree, then they can also, give some answers, right? All right. So let's try to call 1 first, right? Let's see whether it will be executable or not, right? Is the first thing. If I try to execute this code, it cannot find b, right? The code is not executable. The reason is, now again, see, I'm trying to tell this thing, and this is very important, and this is not language dependent also, right? It's language independent. Wherever you define, only JavaScript is a different thing. JavaScript has one concept called hosting, right? Let's not dive into the JavaScript. In the backend languages and compile time languages, right? We'll just talk about the compile time languages. Whenever you declare a variable, this is declaration plus initialization, right? Wherever you declare a variable, try to find the closest curly braces, right? This is it, right? And try to find where it ends. So it ends over here, right? So the visibility of the variable will lie between this region only, right? One can also argue that this is a while loop, right? There might be a chance this while loop not work, but our condition is designed in such a way that we are going to get inside the while loop, right? Because what's the condition? While a is less than 2 and a value is 1, right? So we are going to get inside this loop, and that's for sure. But still this value is not visible over here, right? And what's the reason? The reason is wherever we declare a variable, try to find the closest curly open braces and try to this I will try to find a matching closest close braces, and the value the declaration wherever you have declared the variable, it will be visible between these things only. Cool. So that's why this will be undefined, right? So variable d is does not here. Again, undefined is not a terminology that we use in Java. Undefined is something of the JavaScript, right? So it like cannot find symbol, right? If you try to say undefined, it's more of a JavaScript terminology. Cool. So whenever we try to work with any language, so we tend to use the same terminologies that the language uses, right? So this is how you become a proper and better developer, at least in a particular language. Cool. So clear till now? Anyone have any doubt regarding this law? Alright, I take it as no. Shobha, clear this thing?
Yes.
Alright, wherever you declare the variable, and this part is called declaration, right? Int b. This is called declaration. So even if I try, okay, this is called initialization, right? If I just do this is called initialization, right? So even if I initialize this and try to declare declare over here and try to initialize outside the visibility area, then there will be an error, right? Over here cannot resolve the symbol, right? Cannot find the symbol or resolve the symbol. Cool. So that's why the declaration and initialization, these are the terminologies that one needs to know. This thing is declaration plus initialization, right? Initialization. Cool. So in your seniors will also say, right? Okay, you have declared your variable in the wrong place, right? Declare it over here, line number 8 and 9. This is how your seniors is going to talk to you. Cool. So I hope that this M1 example is clear. Now let's go to M2, right? So how many of you think that M2, if we try to call M2, okay, let's run first, right? The value of 1, right? Because we have commented out the code where we are going to get the error, right? Again, this code, will it work or will it not work? Or now anyone wants to change their solution, I mean their answer? Again, because where have we declared this variable? This variable we have declared over here, right? So we try to find the closest opening curly brace, that would be this, and the end curly brace this, right? So this int b will be visible only inside this area, right? So over here if I try to run it, the code will not compile, right? Cannot find symbol. But if I comment the code over here and copy paste it over here, right, then I need to call it as well, a.m2, a.m2, right? And let's go back to over here. Now if I try to run it, okay, and I can do one more thing. Let's comment it out. So now if I try to run it, the value of a will be 1, the value of b will be 2, the value of b is 2, and then value of a, it became -1, right? Cool. Anyone, any doubt? No doubts, right? Great. So this is the first thing, right? Everyone needs to know, right, how a variable works. Because the thing is, during the coding sessions, I have seen that a lot of people don't know. So that's why whenever they declare a variable, right? Cool. Let me ask some different question as well, right? So we can call it like okay, this was an interview question, but cool. So let's create a package. And over here again, I'm going to ask one question, right? So loop variable visibility. Cool. We are talking about the visibility right now. So over here we are talking about the visibility of variables. So our code will start from PSVM only. Alright. So the for loop, everyone aware of the for loop? Please let me know. If anyone does not know about it, please let me know. Anyone? Everyone knows about it, right? So if I try to run this code, I will print 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Right, this is the output that we get, right, for this code. So okay, so what I can do, this is the part of declaration, right? Initialization plus declaration, right? So let's take it out, and int I equals to 0. Let's put it over here. Cool. If I try to run it, will the code work or not? Anyone?
So, syntax error is there.
This code will run, right? I mean, let me show it. I'll just use such a shortcut. So this will run, right? So this is going to output. Let me change the values also. Let me just add the 6. So right now the 5 will be printed, right, till 5. Cool. The thing is, okay, all right. So we need to type it again. This is not Java, right? We are talking about the loops right now. See, this is how a for loop is defined, right? So what is the first thing? Declaration. Initialization plus declaration. Okay, cool. Okay, let me just know. I mean, these are the basic things. Okay. So this is declaration plus initialization if you want to do it, right? Initialization, right? Then this thing is condition check. Alright. Why condition check? Whether I need to keep the loop continue or not, right? And the last one will be post loop condition. Post loop operation. If when I have completed a one loop, then do I need to operate something or do something, right? So this is how it goes. So what if I remove this thing, right? I mean, I'm not saying that, okay, we need to have a variable, right? Not inside this declaration, we can keep it empty as well, right? Initialization plus declaration, we can keep it empty as well. Over here we have seen, right? But what if, can I keep this empty as well? Can I remove the conditional check as well? Will it allow me or not?
Not, sir.
Okay, let's see. And if I try to run it, infinite loop, right? It will allow. And again, if I remove this thing, post loop operations, what the post loop is doing, right? It's just incrementing my value, right? It's just incrementing my value from 1 to 2 to 3, right? Every time a loop has been completed, then I am incrementing my values. So now can I remove this thing as well? If I'll try to remove this thing and try to run it, then it will be 0 every time, right? Infinite loop with 0. Now it has become what? It is equivalent to while loop. While, okay, let me just replace this thing, right? Let me just copy paste over here this, and instead of this I had made it true, and let me do it just while, right? And while true, this out. What's the issue with this thing? Why it is showing me an error? Can anyone explain? Because this line I will never going to reach, right? Because this is infinite loop, so that's why I have to comment it out. Now if I try to run it, it will be same, right? Every time 0, 0, 0. So there is no difference between line number 8 to 10 and from 13 to 15. Again, this is basic. You can do it even on C as well, right? Cool. Everyone, any issue over here? Anyone? Hello? I'm audible? I'm audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, alright. Please let me know, because I'm not able to see how many people are there right now, right? Or whether I'm connected or not as well. Cool. So this is basic, not Java right now. Till now, not Java, right? Okay, so let's move to Java only. Cool. Okay. So this thing, okay, alright. Okay. So, okay, I hope that you learned something, right? If you were not aware of this thing, right? Cool. So now when you know this thing, right? So I want, I mean, what I really wanted to do was something else. Okay, let's remove this code. All right, we can have it over here, right? I will going to share this project with you, right? You are going to get it, so you can check this code whatever I'm writing over here. All right. So what I'm going to do, if I will write this thing, right? If I write this thing and okay, let me comment it out. All right. So okay, let me show you whether while it's working or not, right? First thing, while I is less than 10, right? And okay, let's take it 5, while I is less than 5. On every completion of every loop, increase the value of I, right? So the value that I'm going to print is from 0 to 5 4, right? So that's this loop is doing, right? So let's suppose what will happen if I'll just copy paste this entire code again over here. What will be the output of the code? Anyone? Okay, anyone? So we have already seen what will be the output till here, right? What will be the output of the next lines? Kishore, this is
Same.
the
It will be same. It will be same.
okay.
Reinitialized it.
Okay, everyone agrees?
Yeah.
Okay, the thing is, everyone is wrong, right? How can I declare two variable, right? See, over here I have declared the I, right? What will be its visibility? Its visibility will be the closest opening curly braces, right? So, okay, my bad. Entire code is wrong right now, I guess. No, it's correct. It's not wrong, right? Let me just move it over here, right? I thought that I have mapped it to the class level, right? So over here, if you see, if you start with
That's
this variable
really
I, the
bad.
closest, the visibility of this variable I is from here to right? From line number 23 to line number 5. How can you declare the variable again, right? It's already here. So if I try to run this, I'm going to get an error, right? Variable I is already defined in the main method, right? Because its visibility is within the same range, right? I cannot redeclare a variable within its visibility area. Cool. First thing. All right. Got it?
Yeah.
All right. Great. So let me just copy paste it. Now, when we know that I cannot redeclare it because it's already visible. So what will be the output now if I try to run it? See, now there will be no error, right? That's for sure. No compile time errors. We will see what is compile time in a minute.
Fall.
So 1 to 5 will be over here.
The second loop will fail. Second loop will fail. First loop only will fail.
I mean, we don't say it's going to fail. The condition it will not work, right? It because the value of 5
Yeah.
will be 5 every time, right? So this is how it goes. So I'll just print it out over here, right? So okay, so let's just update this quotient visibility. Let's make it 1, right? Because I need to add another one also. So I'm just refactoring the class name. Cool. Now our new class, right? Again, I'm going to ask one question. Okay, great. So one thing we have seen till far, right? About the visibility of a variable. So it's going to take 1.5 or 2 hours more, right? If anyone gets tired, please let me know. So if I equals to 0, I less than 5 and I plus plus, I'm assuming that everyone can answer what will be the output now. Please, anyone? If I try to run this code, what will be the output?
The same output that's
Same.
displayed now.
0, 1 will
Great. If
take
I try
what?
to run it
From 0.
till 4, right? Great. Very nice, right? Let me just this thing and just try to put it over here, right? Great. Now what will be the output, right?
Yeah. 0 to 4, 2 times it will fail.
Again, let's see. This is initialization plus declaration 2 times, right? Just wanted you to know.
Yeah, but it is in for loop, not for block. I think block scope.
Come again.
It is seen as a block scope. I think.
Okay, I mean, the final answer. You are in an interview, right? These are interview questions, and these are basic ones, right? If you cannot answer this, I mean, these are rejection round questions. Because this is way too basic, right? And it's in every compiled time language. Not this is not language specific, right? We are not even doing the Java thing right now. What will be the
So,
output?
two times same condition.
Yeah, the answer is right. Both of you has answered the same thing, and the reason is when we declare it within a for loop, right? So this variable declaration is inside this only, right? Its visibility is inside here only. Cool. Same goes with this as well. So even I can define a variable I equals to 0 over here as well, right? There is no issue. I can mark it as 50 and then I can just write it 50, right? Cool. If I try to run this, then 0 to 4, 0 to 4 first, then 0 to 4 second, and then 50, right? Great. Everyone clear? All right, great. Now let me just change one more thing. So let me comment it out and let me just move the declaration of this at the top as well. Right now, what will be the output now? Will it change? Not change? Okay, let me remove it from here. Cool. Now what will be the output? Okay, let me make it I as well. Okay,
0, 1, 2, 3, 4 twice and 50.
okay. See, okay. I'm not expecting right from today only. You can start deducting or use the values, but eventually you have to think in this way, right? But we have seen so far when I declare something over here, right, inside the for loop, then only its visibility will be between these curly braces, right? That we have seen and we have tested it also, right? We are assuming that this does not exist right now. And then same goes with here because the visibility of this variable ends at line number 13. So that's why if I try to initialize it again and declare it also in declaration plus initialization, I have to do it again. Then also I can do it, right? Because if this does not exist right now, then the visibility of I variable has ended at line number 13. So that's why I can again initialize it, right? And its initialization declaration is visibility scope is also died at line number 18, right? So that's how earlier I was able to initialize it over here, right? But right now when we are answering the question, our declaration was at over here, right? At line number 10, right? And if we say that if I declare it at line number 9, 10, sorry, then its visibility will be from this line number 6 to line number 27, right? So how can I again declare two variables? I cannot, right? Earlier the code works because this declaration was outside the scope, right? Over here if I write, then it's completely fine, right? The reason is because still here from line number 7, okay, let me remove this line, right? Because when I declared and initialized the variable inside the for loop, then its scope is still here, right? So there is no I here. At line number 12, no I exists, right? At line number 13 also no I exists. So in line number 13, I can again initialize and declare it, right? Declare and initialize it. So again, this scope of I has ended at line number 15, right? So that's why I again able to initialize it, right? So that's how I will be able to print it. Cool. But I cannot do it if I just simply move it at the top, because now the visibility of the variable has increased, right? It has increased from to this area, right? Earlier it was from line number 20 to line number 25, right? Again, the one thing is we have to declare the variable before we have to use it, right? Again, this is basics, right? Cool. Anyone having any issue with this thing right now? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
No, how it is visible as yet? I'm not getting it.
Okay, cool.
How
Okay.
is outer
See,
scope variable?
see, it's
It's
not.
there is something called
See,
the overloading or overriding. They do it. Hiding.
first thing, overloading and overriding does not work inside this variables, right? Overloading and overriding is different concept, right? With variable it don't work. Overriding will work. Overloading does not work with variables, right? First thing. Another thing is how you will able to apply this overloading and overriding over here. Does not make sense. This variable is having one scope, right? What's the scope of this variable? Oh, till this area, right? So you cannot redefine this variable inside this area in any compile time languages, right? Even if you try to use let in the JavaScript, then too you won't be able to use with let, right? Let variable works similarly like the variables in the compiled language. With var you can do it, but that's a different scope, right? Hosting concept comes into the play. But in no compiled time language you will be able to use it. Cool. And why you are having an issue, right? I have declared it over here, right? What's the visibility? This is the visibility, right? So
Okay.
over here I can access I directly, right? And how, I mean, why you agree with me, right? You can just simply remove these things, right? Because this is the visibility area of this variable, right? Try to run it. We are able to run it, right? Get the output as 50. Why 50? Why not something else? Why we get 50? Okay, my bad. I have done something else. Wait. Alright, let me run it again. Because if the value of phi is less than 50, right? So this line is executed only 21. Again, is it? I mean, I don't know whether you are like it. Try to do coding on your daily basis, right? Try to solve the coding questions. Then it will be easy to understand, right? This code is way too basic. So right now there might be a chance you are not. I mean, you are not able to understand this code, but it's way too. I mean, these are 2 3 lines, right? And it's a basic for loop. For loop is in every language possible. It's present, right? So it should be understandable. And the thing is, Kishore, the this thing, whatever I have told you, right, regarding this accessibility area, right, it will hold true in any case. In any case, we will see when we'll move upwards, right? We haven't started with anything right now. Cool.
Yeah.
So let me just remove this so that the you will be able to. Okay. So over here there will be an error, right? And over here there will be no error, right? Try to remove this thing and try to see how the thing looks, right? Anyone having any issue with this, right? Visibility area, are you able to get the concept of visibility of a variable? Anyone having any issue? Please, you can speak up right now because we are going to start the Java at last now.
Okay.
Everyone clear?
Yeah.
All right. If anyone have any issue, right, you can just say, because these are the basic things that we need to know. Then only we can move forward. All right. Finally, at 10:09, we are about to start Java, right? Okay, great. So with the local variable, we are okay. Okay, we were already on the local variable, right? Okay, we have done. Okay, integration is done. Cool. Okay, cool. Over here, right? The first thing, again, this will be the interview question. Again, there will be an interview question, right? Okay, so okay, what are the local variables? Let me tell you something. Then we'll move into the interview questions again, right? So anyone who thinks that he or she don't want to learn about the interviews, right? But again, these things are way too basic, right? If you're not able to answer this question, then there is an issue with you or your understanding, right? So, and if you are especially working in Java, at least. So bear with me if you not even want to learn about the interview processes, right? Or the interview questions. And I'm not saying that this will be the interview question that you are going to face, but these are something in which you will get stuck somewhere down the line in your entire coding career, right? So what are okay? How many types of variables are there in Java? I'm not talking about the data types. Data types are 8, right? For integers, byte, short, integer, long. For decimals, we have float, end, double. For character, we have char, and for booleans, we have boolean, right? For true and false. But how many types of variable are there? The answer would be there are 3 types of variables in Java, right? Local variables, instance variable, and static variables, right? Now we need to know each one of them, right? So that what are the local variables? Local variables are the variables that are declared inside a method, constructor, or block. Right now you can remove the constructor and blocks, we will see in the later sessions, but right now we can just take the methods, right? What is a method? It will be equivalent to the functions in C class, right? Or what's a method? We have already seen a method. This is a method, right? And in A section, this is a method, right? M1 is a method, M2 is a method. The M defines the method, right? M1 is method 1, M2 is method 2. Cool. So this is a method, right? So whenever we declare, and we have just seen, this is called declaration plus initialization, right? So whenever we just declare a method, inside a method, whenever we declare a variable, my bad, inside a method, the variable will be called local variable. Cool. So whatever variables we have used till far, all were local variables, right? Cool. Anyone? Any issue with the local variable definition? No? Alright, great. So okay, A class, okay, cool. Let me just check whether this is required or not. Okay, again, these were basics, these were not something that we required, right? So this will again be a scope of variable part 3. Let's just change it. Okay, let me just rename the class as well. Okay, cool. This need to change the scope of variable, right? And let's just move it to the interview section, right? Cool. So right now we have a runner and we can ignore it, right? Okay, we can just move it over the interview section only. Cool. So local interview, great. So let's create a class and it will be basic. Okay, my bad. So package basic, right? And let's move my basic class into the basic package. Alright. So in the basic, we are going to do nothing, right? We will think about something. We will learn about the local variable only. So, and instead of basic, there will be a runner. The class name will be A only, right? So public void M1. Just ignore the method. This. What is this called? Please, faster. Anyone?
Local variable.
Okay, yeah, great, local variable. But it's also called, we have declared the variable, right? Declaration, right? And if I'll do this thing, then it will be declaration plus initialization, right? Initialization, right? Pardon my spelling. There is okay, initial. Okay, cool. Okay, great. So this is local variable, right? So we are not going to see about declaration and initialization, right? Because we have already completed in the interview section part scope of a variable, right? So right now I'll only say it local variable. Cool. So one thing, if what will be the scope of a local variable, we have seen, right? Outside the method, can I access the local variable, right? So one thing is, if public void M2, can I access this A variable over here in line number 12? Can I access this A? Okay, anyone?
No,
No.
you can't. No.
Why?
No, sir.
Why?
That scope has ended there with bracket. Function scope.
Yes, the scope has ended from line number 6 to line number 9, right? And in Java, we don't call it them functions, right? We call them methods. I mean, we will see in the later section why we should not call them functions and we call them only methods, right? Because there are different things that we'll see in the later on sections. We are going to get all the errors in the same method. The terminology that Java is going to use will be something different, right? So if you will use the terminologies that Java uses, then if you find some error in the future, you will be able to relate it more. Even it will help you to find the solutions, right? Or if you try to Google it as well. So that's why it's better if you are learning some language, then you should use the terminologies of that particular language only. Cool. Otherwise, there is no differentiation between methods and functions, right? Alright, so let's move. In the front end, in JavaScript we call them functions, right? In C we call them functions, but when we talk about Java, then we call them methods. Alright, so this is not, this will, if I try to run it, then the code will not run. The simple reason is the visibility of a variable, right? The visibility of a variable will, how will I try to find the visibility of this a variable? The declaration line number is 7, right? I'll try to find the closest open curly braces. This is the visibility, right? So outside this a will not be visible, right? So that's why the code, if I try to run, then I will find an error, right? So cannot resolve simply, right? I'm not executing it because it's way too basic, right? So great. So one thing I know, I'm clear about the scope of a variable, right? So from here, if I'll take a runner class and PSVM and try to create an object of a and try to execute method m1 and try to run it, then the value 10 will be printed, right? From where the value 10 has come? From here, right? Cool. So one thing, now I need to know one thing, that okay, you all, how many of you have already worked with Java? Okay, wait. Let's not answer because the session is already too long. I will just going to go through the entire session, and I want you all to go through it, right, again and again, because there will be a leave tomorrow. Then we will continue on Thursday, right? Because our sessions are scheduled on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday and Saturday. Saturday and Sundays, right? So I want you to go through it completely. I'm just giving a 1 day break. Otherwise, because we are lagging behind the course, so we might need some extra classes as well. All right. Given said that, I'm just assuming that I will go through the entire course, right? I'm not going to ask question. Otherwise, it's going to take a lot of time, right? I will ask the question after I'm done teaching, right? Cool. So, and if you have any doubts, you can ask in between as well, right? There is no issue. I will let you know if the concepts are not, if the concept cannot be taught in between, then I will let you know. Otherwise, if you have any doubts, any question arises in your mind, you can directly ask me. All right. Given said that, let me just start this thing. Whenever we are talking about a variable, right? So there are few things that should come in our mind, right? What are these things? The things are, I am the scope of a variable, right? The scope of a variable. So where, and this thing is common for every language that you are going to learn from now onwards. In any language possible, whenever you go, you need to know that these are the things that you need to follow. If I defined a variable, right? So I need to know where this variable can be visible, right? So over here we know, right now we have already covered this thing, right? The scope of variable. And now other thing is the size of a variable, right? The size of a variable means that how many space it's going to take, right? Another thing will be in the size of the variable, I'm just including the maximum, the range as well, right? Including range. How many, first these things are relative. If a 4 byte can hold some values in Java, then the 4 byte will take the same values in Python also, right? There is no alternative that it can take or hold less value than that if the data type is same, because this is not language dependent, right? So that's why it's including range as well. We don't need to know, we just need to know the data type that a language is using and the size that it takes. Then we can take the range because it will be same in every language possible. Cool. Okay, let's move to next thing. That would be size of variable, and then the maximum value already included over here. Then if I don't provide the value, right, whether the default values will be provided or not, right? Other question, what should we should ask, what's the memory name? Language memory name, right? Where the variable is going to be saved, the language will provide a memory name, right? So this will be the logical memory name. Logical memory name. Right? And then the OS level memory or the hardware level, right? Hardware memory name. Right? Again, so again, one thing that we should know, that okay, we have the size of a variable, right? So a variable, I will take some variable, right? From a memory, I will take this size of variable, right? Variable size will be taken from the memory, right? And it will be from the hardware memory, right? So when, we know that okay, when this line has been executed, then we require memory, right? Or we require memory earlier on. We are going to go through it, and when the memory will be freed, right? Memory management, right? It includes when memory is occupied and free, right? Because the thing is, different language takes different methods, right? In C or in C++, you are responsible to free the memory, right? But in Java, that's not the case. You don't have the pointers, right? We have covered this in the first session that Java don't have pointers, right? Internally they use it, but as a developer you cannot use any pointers. And that in turn provide you the security as well, right? So these are the things that we need to know about variable. And we have different type of variable, right? In Java we have three variables: local, instance, and static. So we need to know these things for each of the variable, right? Scope we have already know, right? The size of a variable also we have covered, right? So the default values, cool. So let's come over here. If I don't provide this value 10 and try to execute the code, what will be the value, right? Again, this is an interview question. Interview section. So anyone, if they know, let's just copy paste this thing. Okay, let's create a completely new thing. Right? Okay, this will be a part of local variable. Okay, so it's a part of local variable. Cool, great. Alright, so local variable using value without initialization. Okay. So this is what I'm going to do. So it means what I'm going to do is I will initialize a, and then, okay, my bad, then I'm going to just try to print it out, dot println, and the value of a and a, right? Anyone wants to answer? You have 10 seconds.
0.
Alright, great. Wrong answer. Answer is code cannot be compiled. Right? Compile time error. Variable might not have been initialized, right? So today you have learned one more thing. I mean, a lot of things you have learned, but this thing is this is the something that's a part of, you can say that it's a part of Java, right? In some language they can allow, but in some language they don't allow, but most language don't allow, right? The local variable, if you have a local variable, you need to initialize it before you use it. Cool. So we haven't, this is a declaration, right? So local variable you need to initialize before you want to use. So again, when we go back to the basic, okay. So the local variables, default value is not provided, right? So the answer of this is not provided, right? If the local value has been provided, then the value would have been 1, and the answer that Kishore has provided would have been correct, right? Kishore, you were the one, right, who answered it?
Yeah.
Alright, great. So we'll see whether it will work with some other or not, right? So we have seen that we cannot use it, right? Okay, so over here the error will be at line number 9, right? Over here it's completely cool, we can declare it, but we cannot use it, right? We have to initialize it before we have to use it. Cool, great. Again, let's move to next thing. But whatever we have seen the scope of variable, we have seen the size of variables, we have seen the default values is not provided for this thing that we are saying it for the local variables. Cool. If any one of you thinks that we are going with very basic items and one don't need to know it, and I want to directly learn something else, then the thing is, if this thing has been asked to you and you are not able to answer, then these are the rejection round questions. If you don't know about the callables features in the multi-threading, then it's completely acceptable. But if you don't know this thing, right, this is the first day first question, right, and first star, and this is the first thing that we are covering right now. Earlier, before local variable, whatever we have done, that was the computer basic science, right? I mean, it's you can do those things with your C language as well. Alright, this was the very first thing. Java does not provide default values to local variables, so that's why if you want to use the local variables, you want to initialize it first, right? And when I say use it, right, it does not mean that only printing, right? Even if I want to do int b equals to 5, or even just simple, if I want to add something, right, add like a plus 5, right, and try to write b equals to a plus 5, and let's name it int b, right? So it don't make sense, right? Because I don't know anything about a. Why I don't know anything about a? Because Java does not provide default values, right? So a plus 5 would be, I don't know what is this, and then plus 5, right? So Java don't provide default values to the local variables. Cool. So you cannot use it. You need to initialize the local variable before you use it. Cool. And one thing, if I don't use this, right, and if I just run this code and it will work. You can declare it and not use it, it's completely fine, but you should not do it in your production code, because why you are taking 4 byte for fun, right? You're in code review, you will be told to remove this variable, right? But if you want to run it, then it's completely acceptable. If you don't declare any variable, it's completely fine, but just don't use it, right? All right, so let's move to the next part of it. So we have seen that no default variable has been provided, right? So what is the memory name, right? Whenever I have, okay, so how many types of memory names, logical memory names, you know about the language Java? Okay, cool. Let me tell you, there are 3 memory, right? We call them stack memory, heap memory, and non-heap memory, right? We will go through each one of them, right? But these are logical names, right? These are logical names. So the local variable will be stored in stack memory. Cool. So this is a theoretical answer. But what would be that? Okay, Kishore, you are not supposed to answer this thing, right? You will be silent. I mean, you are not going to answer this question, Kishore. Everyone else. When I say
Yeah.
that int a equals to 10, where in my system, because I have my system, right? This is my laptop, right? So where in my system the memory has been stored, right? This is my system. So where in my system the memory has been stored, right? We all know that, okay, this is 4 byte I require, right? But in which memory this 4 byte has been saved for a while, right? I mean, where it has been used, 4 byte, from where the 4 byte has come. Okay, only 5 seconds, right? Otherwise this session will be of 5 to 6 hours, right? I don't want it to go beyond 12. Okay, so cool. How many types of memory that you know that in laptop exist? Dikshita, how many memory types of memory exist in this system? I'm talking about when you go to the market to buy a laptop. How many types of memory exist?
The RAM and ROM.
Okay,
We are talking.
okay, we can say the RAM exists, right? And okay, instead of RAM, one is thing is RAM, right? And where the okay, so you save memory, right? You save movies in your system, right? Or some videos, YouTube videos, lectures, anything in documents, right? Where do we save them? In C drive if you are using the Windows, right? Where does that C drive exist? HDD, right? Or SDD, solid disk drive or hard disk drive, right? It has magnetic tape, or it works as a solid disk drive. It works as a pen type, right? It moves, so that's why if you try to buy HDD, it will have 1 RPM, right? We're not going to dive deep into that, otherwise it will take 1 hour only. So any other memory that we have in the system, so it will be cache, right? Again, see, you need to work, everyone over here need to work on your OS level, right? OS things. Cool, no issues. I mean, you are learning Java, there is no need to learn, but it would be great if you are already aware of it, right? So these are the 3 memory that we know that exist in our system, right? Whenever we go and buy something, then you will find these 3 things will be visible. And the thing is, never trust me. Directly go and open any website, right? Amazon, if you try to go inside the Amazon, if you try to find any laptop, right? Laptop. Okay, just show me laptop. I don't care. Okay. So right now, oh yeah, it's very cheap. These are cheap laptops. Right? Okay, let me give me some better laptop, right? Okay, this thing looks fine, right? Okay. So over here, what you can see. Okay, specification, we can go directly to the specification as well. So we don't have a lot of time, so we can directly just Google it. It will have SSD, right? 512 SSD, right? Then 16 GB of RAM, right? Then it will be having some cache, 12 MB cache, right? So these are the memory that we have. What are the combination that one needs to know, and then how it works, how the relation between the processor and those things works, what are the different cores, those things are completely different thing. We're not going to dive deep into that. So right now we know that there are 3 types of memory that exist in the system, right? Server is also a system, right? It does not have a screen, it has a CPU, it has a operating system, right? Everything is same. This does not have a screen. So now tell me, whenever I'm writing a variable in Java, whenever I'm writing this thing int a equals to 10, where in these three memory the data is being saved. Again, nobody is going to ask you this question, but I mean, you should know it, right? At least if you are experienced person, at least 3 to 5 years, if you have that experience, then you should know it. Where do you think we should know? Try to deduct it, right?
Sorry, what's the question?
Okay, again, the question is where the memory will be stored if when I say that int a equals to 10, when I'm declaring it and initializing the value, in which the logical memory name is stack memory, right? And that's the thing that I have told. But what's the hardware memory name? So the thing is, we know that there are three types of memory exist in the system that we use right now. So where in my laptop it's been saved, whether it's in RAM or SSD or cache. Okay,
Is it in cache?
okay. The answer is no. Again, why the cache exists or not exist? Okay, so it's no, right? I mean, I should have told it already because it's recent. I mean, not recent though, but alright, cool. See, is there any memory over here which is any one of this? I mean, if I close the if I close, I mean, right now the machine has been off, right? The JVM has been dead, right? It has exited, right? So will this a value 10 will persist or not persist? Do I need to declare it again or not declare it again? Alright, it's going to again take a lot of time. Cool. So let me tell you. See, any language in anywhere you go, no language will work with the permanent storage, right? Whenever you save anything, it will be stayed. The permanent storage is SSD and SSD, right? This is the permanent storage. Permanent storage, right? This is the permanent storage. But the thing is, any language don't store anything for permanently, right? That's why the database exists, right? Because database has ACID properties, right? In ACID, D is for Ashok. Oh, sorry, Kishore. Now you can answer.
Yeah, durability.
Yes, that means that. So ACID database will work with the permanent storage, right? So database will always work with your HDD and SSD, and no point for guessing. In production environment, it will be always SSD, right? Because hard disk drive we don't even want in our system, right? Mac don't have the SSD, so we will always have SSD. See, this is the very basic item, right? Whenever you become the manager and you want to work with the AWS Azure, when you will decide which one to buy, right? At that particular time, you need to know it. It would be great. Otherwise, at the time, if you are going to search between difference between SSD and those things, and then I'm not saying that would be bad, but it would be great if you already know it, right? Then you will be able to know already that SSD will be for the databases, right? And RAM will be for the languages, right? Why RAM? Because we don't want to save anything permanently with any language possible that exists in the world right now, right? I'm not saying that we cannot use the STD. We can use it, right? When we want to write anything, right, in a file, then we are going to write in STD or HDD. But we are going to give a path, right? And in that path, it would be defined that this on this path, HDD or SDD will be working. Well, if I want to save in the C drive, the C drive will be HDD or SDD, right? Depending on your system that you are using. Cool, great. And also you can deduct it in this way. See, cache. Why we use cache again? We are not going to dive deep into that. So the RAM you can also you can directly see if I just close my system again, try to reboot it again. No memory, I get it again, right? So from there also you can guess that okay, the RAM is the one because no language save anything, right? Because random access memory is temporary memory, right? It gets wiped out as soon as you close your server, right? Or you shut down your system, right? So that's how it goes. So what would be the logical? Sorry, not logical. What would be the? Okay, not bad. Runner, no A, yes. So what would be the hardware memory name? It would be RAM, right? Anyone over here with more than 5 years of experience? Except Kishore? Alright, cool, then there is no issue. But if you have more than 5 years of experience and I mean you're finding it hard to know this thing, then I mean okay, completely cool. Okay, so memory management, right? When the memory is provided and when the memory is going to get freed, right? Again, I'm going to answer this question. I'm not going to ask from you. As soon as this line executes, right, it needs 4 byte. Cool. And as soon as the method ends, as soon as 21 lines ends, the memory is released. Cool. Okay. Clear? Whenever I declare for the local variables, as soon as the line where I am declaring a variable, the memory will be not initializing, just declaration. Wherever I am declaring a variable, the memory will be occupied, right? And as soon as that method ends, alright, as soon as that method ends, or if a constructor, or if it's a block, then if a constructor ends or a block ends, right now we're going to just talk about the variable methods. As soon as the method ends, then the memory will be destroyed, right? Why? Because the stack memory is there, right? And the entire stack will be destroyed, right? So in a stack variable, when I say int b equals to 20, so the stack will be having two variables, right? Int a also will be in stack and int b also in the stack, right? So as soon as line 22 completes, both this variable will be deleted, right? Both the memory will be freed. Cool. Understood? Any doubt till now? Anyone?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Let me walk through the code as well, this thing, right? So over here you can see everything is written in the notes, right? You don't have to write it. Take the first part of the Java, right? Because it was important, that's why we have notes. See, the local variables, right? The variables which are declared inside a method, constructor or block, those variables are called the local variables, right? The definition can also say the variables which are declared inside a class, inside a method, right? And the method will be inside a class only, right? When we will see the method definition, then we will be aware of this thing. Second thing is, it is possible to access local variable only inside the method, constructor or block only, right? This thing we have seen. This is the example that we have seen also, right? Not possible to access outside the method. Why? Because this a has a visibility inside from here to here only, right? I cannot access a outside this visibility scope, right? Which is this add method only. I will be able to access int equals to 10, right? For local variables, memory allocated when method starts and release when the methods complete, right? This will be just for the case where the method is starting, right? Otherwise, whenever I am declaring a variable, at that particular line number only, I am going to occupy a memory, right? Otherwise, for a simple answer, you can say when the method starts, memory is allocated, and the method ends, memory is released, right? And why it is said, because if you have this thing like enter and b, right, then before starting of this method we need this variables, right? These two are also local variables too. Okay, let me make it b and c. Okay, b also exists. No, it's not exact, b and c. So these are also local variables, right? One needs to know this. Alright. And for local variables, okay, cool. This thing is important, very important, right? You need to remember. Okay, so we are not going to dive deep into instance variable. Okay, clear about the local variable till now? Anyone having any doubts? Because we are going to move to instance variable now. Everyone clear with this? Okay, please let me know.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for the acknowledgement. So we are going to move to instance variable, right? So we are going to take this thing again with us, right? Right now it will be instance. So for instance variable basics, right? So first thing, scope of a variable, right? The scope of the variable will be same. Nothing will be going to change. Default values provided, yes. Memory name heap, right? Hardware will remain same, RAM. Cool. Now memory management. When object is created, memory is given, right? And when object is destroyed, memory is removed. Cool. Everyone needs to know this thing, right? These are the basic things, right? Because we are doing it and the size of the variable depends. It will be remain same, right? Because this will be only the primitive data types, right? And scope of the variable we have also already covered it, right? So where do I initialize this thing and all of this thing? This will be a type of nodes, right? So where I declare it, right? Instance variable are the variable which are declared inside the class but outside the method, right? This int age. This variable is instance variable. And now what will be the scope? It's not inside a method, right? If I'll say public void m1 and in, and let's say instead of string, let's say boolean working equals to false, right? So this is local variable, right? Because local variables are the variable that are declared inside a method constructor or a block. But an instance variable is a variable that is declared inside a class. Inside a class will be this, but outside the method will be this, right? So this thing is inside the class and outside the method, right? So this is called the instance variable. Cool. And the instance variable will have the default values, right? We say yes, right? So how can I test it? Just try to okay, so what, okay, just let me give, now tell me one thing, that if I try to print a over here, will it work or not work? Okay, you have seen the code, right? Okay, basics equals to new basics, and okay, new basics, and then basics dot m1. Cool. If I try to execute this thing by removing this, will it work or not work? Or what will be the output over here? Okay, see, one thing over here we have seen, default value will be provided or not. What is the answer over here? What's the answer? Is my screen visible to you all?
Yes.
Okay, so it is written yes, right? And I have not initialized the value, right, till there. But then too, if I try to run the code, okay, age will be there, right? So if I try to run the code, the value will be 0. Kishore, the answer is here now. Why?
Yeah.
The thing is, right? Remember one thing, whenever we talk about the heap memory, right? In heap memory, you will always get the default values.
Acha. Okay.
Okay, not in the stack memory. And when I say heap, it can be non-heap also. We'll see. Okay, memory, logical memory type also we need to update, right? Okay, already updated heap memory, right? Cool. So this is the first thing, right? And what will be, okay, nodes over here, let's say these are the range, right? But we also need to know the default values, right? Default values will be, for entire integer it will be 0 only. Cool. For anything it will be 0. Cool. And for float, for decimals it would be 0.0. Cool. It would be again 0.0. For boolean it will be always false. Cool. And for character it will be an empty character. Cool. And we can check it, right? No need to even, let's just change it, right? Integer, and let's let's take it byte value, because byte is also a keyword. Short value, right? And now long. One thing you need to know about the long, if you take 10, there will be a, okay, long value, right? Okay, I will tell you regarding this later on. So byte, short, integer and long, right? And then for decimals we have float value, then we have double value, and we have boolean, okay, default boolean, and we have char, right? So default char, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take our byte value, right? So over here it should be short value, int value, okay, integer, great. Then float, oh no, my bad, long, right, long value. Then float value, then double value, then boolean, default boolean, and then char, default char, right? If I try to run it again, 0 0 0 0 0 dot 0 0 dot 0 false, and over here it has been null, right? You cannot see. So earlier it used to be empty character, but it has moved to null. Is it visible to you all? It's presenting null, right?
It will be written null, in
Is it visible? NUL,
okay, and I will show you.
right? But let me show you one more thing, right? It is over here, it is present null. So what if I try to append default character plus ABC? What will be the output now? Will it be null plus ABC? If you try to run it, it will be null plus ABC.
No, only ABC.
Okay, it's over here, it's null plus ABC, right? So we can try one more thing. So we can say that, okay, I need to store the character. If I try to append, say this is a character and this is a string, right? So if I try to append a character with the string ABC, and let's say new string, right? New string, and the value of the new string is I, value of new string. So what we can check over here, default, okay, no, not new string, and now I want to know the size of new string, right? Size of new string. Cool. So ABC, okay, let me remove this and let me just remove this, right? ABC is of 3 characters, right? So if I try to run this, the size is 4, right? And you can even see that if I take only ABC, right, over here ABC, right, and dot length, then the answer of ABC dot length will be 3, right? But we are getting 4 for the new string. So where does one extra string comes, right? For null. It's not like it's written NULL, so that's why it's going to get 4 characters, right? It will be treated as a single, right? Cool, understood? Understood? Any doubts?
Yeah.
So the only thing that we need to know is the default values exist for the variables that we store in heap area, right? And the local variables are stored in stack memory, so no default values are provided, right? And if no default values are provided, then you need to initialize it, right? Initialize it before use it, right? But for the instance variable, you will get, because the memory that we are going to use would be heap, and in the heap memory we get the default values, and the default values we have seen what are the default values there are, so we can directly use it, right, before initializing, right? But it's not like it's not initialized, it's being initialized, but by JVM, right? In Java we cannot use anything without initializing it, but for the heap area variables we get the default values, so it's auto initialized, right? If you don't initialize then we can work that too. Cool. Any doubts till now? And what will be the default values provided? Yes, we already know about the default values. What will be the logical name? Heap. What will be the hardware memory name? It would be RAM, right? Entire thing will be worked on the RAM, right? Entire language will work. Entire compile time language will work on RAM only. Cool. Whenever we declare a variable. And the memory, when object memory will be created, when the object is created, memory will be destroyed when the object is destroyed, right? Clear? Clear till now? So let's go to this thing, our nodes, and over here we can see instance variable, and the variables which are declared inside a class but outside of methods, those variables are called instance variables, right? The scope of the variable is inside the class, right? Global visibility. Why global visibility, right? Because this byte, what's the closest curly braces? This, right? And then it becomes a class level variable, right? People also call it global level variable, but in Java we don't use such terms like global level variables, right? it would be instance variable. It's already understood that instance variable will have, because instance variable is inside the class and outside the variable, so the scope will be global only in terms of different languages, but we don't use global visibility thing in Java, right? Alright, so now for the instance variable, memory is allocated during object creation and memory is released when the object is destroyed. Cool. And the instance variables are stored in heap memory. Alright. So now for the instance variable, we need to know about the two memory areas, right? So one thing that one needs to know, how can we access the variables also, right? Okay, one thing we have left, how we can access the variable, right? Access the variable, right? So access the variable, when we try to access the variable, then in the local variable, cause the visibility is inside the method, so we can access it directly, right? We can access it directly, right? Only directly we can access it, right? So starting when method starts and when method ends. So we can use it directly, right? We don't have to use anything else, because it's A over here. If it's visible anywhere, then I can directly use it, right? So accessibility is directly. But with my this instance variable, how can I access it? I can access them directly inside a class, but I can also access them using the reference variable. This is called reference variable, right? So I can say basics dot, and then I will have all the variables, right? So I can just say that okay, I want integer, right? So I can just type it over here, and that default value of integer. Cool. And if I try to run this, then default value of integer is 0, right? How I am accessing it? By using the reference variable, right? So this is the reference variable. We will come over here in the later session, so how this is, the object is being created, but we can access it using the instance, using the reference variable, right? So now the time has come that we learn about the two areas in Java, right? So one is instance area and one is static area. So now the question arises, and usually the terminology is not this, the terminology is instance context area and static context area, right? So what are the instance context area and static context area, right? So whatever you are seeing over here, right, entire thing is right now the instance context area. But if I write anything with the static keyword, then the area would be in static context area, right? For example, so package, okay, my bad. So over here you can see basics, and in the basics, what I can do over here, if I'll say the okay integer or just integer, right? So this would be, which type of variable is this? Instance, right?
Instance.
All right, great. But if I want if I want to convert it into static variable, then I will use a static keyword. A static keyword is access modifier, right? But which access modifier is context modifier? So the from instance context area, it has become a static context area, right? And in a static context area, everything will be static. We will see a lot of these things in the later sessions. But if a variable I want to make it as static, then I need to assign a static keyword, right? So this is in the static context area, and the variable will become the static variable, right? So which variables are static variables, right? Which are written inside the class, outside of method, constructor or blocks, but with a static keyword, right? So this has become, so there is no difference between a static and instance variable. The only difference is the static variable has the static keyword, right, before it, and the scope will be entire class, right? But one thing needs to know, static context area, I mean, we are going to repeat it again and again in the entire course, that the static context area is associated with the class rather than objects, right? We will see it in later class what does it mean. But again, this static context area is associated with the class, not with the objects or not with any other thing, right? So same thing will come over here as well. These things okay, this instance variable. So we are going to come here and we are going to paste here and we will say static variable, right? So it will be default value will be provided, yes, it will be exactly same, right, which we have seen with the instance variable. You can just copy paste the code, make all the variables static, you will still get the same answer, right? The memory name will be non-heap memory, right? What's the difference between them? On heap memory, garbage collector works. On non-heap memory, garbage collector does not work. We will see that in the later sessions as well. In the garbage collection or memory management part as well. Hardware will be same, RAM only. Cool. When the memory is provided, right? During dot class file loading, right? And during dot class file unloading. Now you are already aware, right, what is dot class file, right? We have seen what is the dot class file, right? See this thing, range dash test nodes, right? All things are dot class file, right? Okay, I need to refresh it, right? Refresh. Let's go over here. See, these are dot class file, right? Bytecode, dot class file, bytecode, right? And even we can go it in the terminal and check it out also. Okay. Run a dot class, right? Basics dot class. Now, whenever I am loading this class, and when I will load this class, we have covered in the last sessions. When I want to run it, right? Java and then space runner, and then I will be running this thing, right? So whenever I want to load a dot class file, at that particular time the memory is provided for static variables, right? And when the memory is freed, when the dot class file unloads, and when the dot class file unloads, when I close the JVM. Cool. And what does it mean by JVM? Either the code ends or I just close the server, right? At that particular time JVM ends. Cool. Any issue till now? Any questions? All right.
Yeah, Abhishek, context area means, is it like saying that heap memories, you are dividing the heap memory into different contexts? Huh? That is meaning.
Memory thing is different, context areas are different, right? Instance context area and static context area, we are going to see it in the next sessions. Right now we cannot cover
Achha.
it in today's session.
Okay.
Right now you just need to know, because it's already too much, right? I think it's too much, because if the earlier things were not clear, so now I think it would be too much. You will require at least a day, I mean all of combined, I'm not taking about a single person. So I want, I mean again, one thing, this is the basic building block, right? Whatever we are going through today will be used in the next session, right? We are going to require each and everything that has been told, right? Nothing is waste of time and energy, right? Everything. That's why it is important. That if it was not important, then I wouldn't have told anything, right? These things. This is important, right? Each one, when these are accessed, right? Loading and loading, everything is required, right? RAM, non-heap, heap, because we are going to whether default values are provided or not. This will be used in your daily lives when you work with the production ready environment, right? So nothing that we are covering right now is extra, right? I just want to repeat this thing, right? From the point that we have started Java, before the Java thing, it was prerequisite, right, for Java. Cool. So whatever we are going to do till the first part of the Java, or at least till we complete the access modifiers, the OOPs, the class elements, and the access modifiers, strings, and the abstract and interfaces, not a single thing would be considered extra, right? Everything everyone needs to know. Cool. I'm not saying that otherwise if you don't know then you won't be able to do it. Everyone is working, right? But there's a difference between good developer and average developer, right? So over there you can make a distinction, right? And again, it's basic things, or at least we can able to use it, right? Especially if you have more than 5 years of experience or 3 years of experience, please know all these things, right? Otherwise, in future you are going to mess something up. Cool. So right now there are two, I mean, we just need to know that there are two context here, right? Static and instance. And if I write the static with a variable that was inside a class but outside the method, then that particular variable will be considered as a static variable, right? And the area will be static context area, or the instance area will be instance context area, right? So this thing, I can access these things, right? These things we can even go and check tomorrow, because okay, I will cover it today only, right? But in a while. So what are the static variables? The variables which are declared inside a class but outside the methods with the static modifier, those variables are called static variables, right? Scope of the static variables within the class, it will be global visibility, right? Because we have already seen that if I declare it somewhere over here inside the class, outside the method, then by default the closest curly braces is there, then I can directly access it from everywhere, right? But the thing is, it is static context area. Everything that is in the static context area is associated with the class. That's why I can directly access it, right? Accessibility, right? So how can I access it? So the answer would be inside this class I can directly access it. There is no question regarding this, right? Okay. Public void m1 and sysout, I can directly access this thing, static integer default value, right? I can directly access it, right? Oh my bad, static integer, right? I can directly access it, there is no issue, right? One thing, direct access within the class, direct access within the class. Another thing would be I can use it with object reference variable, right? With reference variable I can also use it variable. See, you can draw a comparison. Local variables can be accessed directly only, right? Directly accessed within the method only, right? Then instance variable can be used directly within a class also and with reference variable also, right? But instance variable or static variable has one more thing, right? Direct access with class name. What does it mean? We are going to see. See, one thing, we have direct access, we have seen within a class, right? Now we will see two ways to access it, right? And which way is bad and should never be used, we will see that as well. So let's create an object first. Because for reference variable we need to create an object. So we are going to create a class with basics equals to new basics, right? And then I can just sys out and just copy paste this thing and so static default value with reference variable, and reference variable will be basics. So I can do basic dot static integer and it will be used, and then I can directly do this and access through value with class reference, right? And what does I mean by class reference? I can just directly use basics, okay, BASICS, and that's it. Class name, dot operator, and the variable name, that's it. I can access it this way also for the static variables. Okay, I think I can enable this, right? We get values, right? This two, and this method I haven't called, so that's why this, okay, I can call the method as well. So basic.m1, so now I will get all the values, right? See, and everyone is using same values. How can I prove it? I will just provide this thing as value 20. Cool. And if I try to run it again, everyone has a value 20, right? Got it? I'm audible?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So see, you can see like class versus object, you can skip for now, right? You can skip for now. I will be sharing this PDF with you, but this thing you can skip for now. We are going to cover this in the later sections when we cover the end. First we need to know what we can write in a class, right? Then we will compare the class with the objects, right? And what are the difference, how it works and not works. So right now you can skip this thing, right? Whenever you are going to read about this, you have to skip two things right now, right? Accessibility you need to skip, because in the second session we are going to cover it about the areas. You can skip Okay, class versus object right now, because we will going to cover this when we are done with our all the class elements. That would be variables, methods, constructors, and blocks. And in block it would be static and instance block, right? After that we are going to cover this, right? Then you can read about this. There is no issue with this. And see, this is the most important part. This thing, this table, right? Characteristics. See, it has been a little, I mean shaky. I mean, you have to. I mean, you can see it over here like this, like variable, right? Local variable inside a method or class, right? Inside a method. Okay, where declare, right? So inside a method or constructor or block, right? Down here, inside a method or constructor or block, right? So this is local variable. Instance variable inside the class outside of methods, right? And the static variable inside the class and outside of methods, right? So this answer has been moved over here a little bit. Cool. So just letting you know, I will try to fix it and send it again, but right now today I will send it like this only. Cool. Then local variables usage within the method only, right? Because otherwise the visibility will not be there, right? And this thing we don't need to rote learn, right? Because we already know the logic behind it, right? Accessibility logic. Okay, I was expecting some affirmation, but cool, no issues. So instance variable inside the class we can use, static variable also we can use inside the section when memory is allocated, when the method start, right? For the local variables. For instance variables, when the memory is allocated, when the object is created, right? For static variables, when the memory is allocated, when the dot class file is loaded. Same with when local variable, when the memory is destroyed, when the method ends. For instance variable, when the method memory destroyed, when the object is destroyed. And for the static variables, when the memory is destroyed, when the dot class file unloading is done, right? Initial values, none. Must initialize the value before first use. That's why I wanted you to know difference between declaration and initialization. If you don't know, I would like to repeat. Declaration means just int a, right? You have declared a variable, but initialization means setting or giving some value, right? So instance variable, local variable, if I want to use it, I can use it, but only before giving some value to it, right? Instance variable default values will be provided by the JVM. Same goes with the static variables, right? Because the values, whenever we save something in the heap, the default value will be provided by the JVM. Relationship with the objects, right? It has no, I mean, we will see in the later session, it will become more clear. But right now you can just rote learn it that there is no relation with the object, right? How many times I'll call an object, that many times the variable will be created, right? And with this instance variable, what will happen? If I create 10 objects, right? So 10 memory will be required. And for static variable, cause it is associated with the class, only one single memory will be created. Is this thing clear or not? A relationship with the objects.
Yeah.
Okay. We will discuss this in the later sessions, right? And accessing, right? Directly it's possible because its accessibility is within the methods only. So the accessibility within the method will be possible, right? So over here, but instance method, I can use it with using the inside the, it's because it has a global visibility, then inside the class I can directly use. But apart from that, I can use it with the reference variable, right? T. And for static, I can use with the test.a directly as well with the class, right? Memory is stack memory. For instance, it's heap memory. For static, it's non-heap memory. Cool. So this is the table that you should know, right? This is the thing. If you know, the entire session that we have done today can be summarized into this. And whatever extra we have done it, that was not a part of Java. That was the basic thing, right? Alright. So let me just stop the recording.